Hello everyone, and welcome to another read-along. This is your friendly heads-up warning that we are going to be going into a critical reading of Zenith. That means it will not only contain every single spoiler, but if Zenith is one of your favorite books and you cannot stand to see it ripped apart into little tiny pieces, then this isn't the review for you. See you next time. Thanks for playing. Hey guys, it's a super hot day, so I look all sweaty and gross, because I am. And we're gonna read chapter 70. We're back with Lyra. So I hate it. But 70. Chapter 70. That is a lot of fucking chapters in your book. 70! Are there 100 chapters? Like, how many chapters are there? 98 chapters. 98. Holy shit. And as you guys know, I feel like many of them could have been combined, and I did not understand why they were new chapters, so... Maybe it had something to do with the way this book was written. Maybe each chapter break represents like when the authors handed off or something. I don't know, but I have cat hair on my lip. Any way you slice it, when they edited this, they should have combined some of those chapters. But let's continue with chapter 70. Adam's not here. He's out of town on business. And I'm just waiting for my chicken nuggets to finish cooking, so we're just gonna read. Oh good, I'm gonna love this chapter because it begins when Lyra was a child. Because we needed more history and flashbacks on these characters. So, Lyra's sitting with her brother who's in the hospital, Obs, because he was shot. This whole side plot with her brother, I don't think it's gonna come to anything. Maybe it will. Maybe he'll end up, like, saving the day or something, and he's an important character. But otherwise, like, I do not care. I don't care about Lyra, and I especially don't care about her brother who showed up more than halfway through the book, but we're really supposed to be concerned about. Like, why is he here? What does he serve? There are so many characters that don't need to be in this book. Then Lyra fell asleep and she had a pointless foreshadowing dream sequence where she dreamed that her home planet was turned into the evil queen's home planet. Gee, I wonder what that means. And then she wakes up. Be really careful with your dream sequences. They're fun. I have a fondness for dream sequences in my own writing, but don't do too many. Your audience would rather be spending time in the real world with your real characters than they would in dreams. Like, you know how somebody comes over and wants to tell you about the dream they just had? You're usually already bored before they've even started. It kind of applies with books too. The audience only will tolerate listening to your character's dream most of the time. So if you don't have a very good reason to have a dream sequence, don't include one. Apparently I did not understand how Lyra's people cry. I assumed the tears came from their eyes, but no. Tears fell freely from Lyra's face. Just her face. And not down Lyra's face. Or onto Lyra's face. From Lyra's face. So fun fact, her species cries with their whole face. Oh good. Lyra's aunt showed up and she's like, and they're like crying from their faces, and like Lyra's like, I'll come back with you, I got my brother in so much trouble, I'll come back with you, I'll do whatever you want. And conveniently her aunt is like, no, I don't want you to, I want you to follow your dreams. I don't know why her aunt is like that, but she is. And then Lon wakes up and they're a happy family all together. And now we're on to chapter 71. We're back with Andi. I'm gonna go check on my chicken. Sounds naughty, but it's not. I don't think this author knows what spun sugar is. I think they think it's like cotton candy, but it is in fact not. Future me will insert an image of spun sugar. 4-poster bed was large enough for 3. The mattress so soft it was like diving into a sea of spun sugar. By the way, Andi just took a bath, which we had to hear about, and then she went to her private quarters, and then her dad is creepily there, just like sitting there for hours, waiting for her to show up. So that's Father of the Year. These authors have no trust that the readers will understand anything that is going on. So Andi comes into the room, her dad is fucking sitting in a chair facing her. And then the authors have to say, it seemed her father had been waiting for her to arrive. Yeah, we got that. Exactly 0 of your readers believe that he's sitting in Andi's private room for any other reason than he was waiting for her. Andi's swords are just like there on her bed, and I feel like maybe the general shouldn't have given this champion murder hobo her weapons back. Maybe that's just me. I think I've said this before, but just in case I haven't, or it's been too long, I feel like the past tense of slay is slain, not slayed. ready for the new tallies to be scratched into the metal so as to represent the Zen patron soldiers she'd slayed on Anhira, or soldiers she'd slain on Anhira. I feel like the second one is correct, but maybe I just don't know things. Feel free to correct me in the comments. Again, the author's not trusting the reader. We watch Andi come into the room, acknowledge her father, not saying anything, there's no dialogue. She sits down on the bed, she looks at her swords, she thinks about soldiers she's going to slay, or has slayed. And then they say, from the moment she'd entered and seen him waiting, she refused to offer him a word. Obviously, we were there. We saw her not having any dialogue. Very frustrated with these authors. Like, trust me to pick up what you're putting down, ladies.
Can you dig what I'm laying down? I knew that you could. Slide me some skin. So, brother?
We're getting a flashback of the last time she saw her father, and all of this would be so much more meaningful if we had gotten it in an earlier book instead of as a flashback. Like, her relationship with her father, if it is important to this story, learning it now at the literal end of the book is too late.
And it's too late, baby, now it's too late.
I don't know how else to say it. I don't know. Is this a trend? Like, am I missing something? Am I the only one who sees this? So we find out something we really didn't need to know. We were fine not knowing this, that her dad was the one who helped her escape so she could go become a murder pirate. But I was never, like, in this book, I was never like, how did she escape? I was like, she escaped, she became a pirate. So I still don't understand why the dad is a character right now. Andy's not very smart, but I suppose we knew that. She's like asking, she's like, I sent you so many letters, Dad, after I escaped. Didn't you get them? Why didn't you respond? Maybe you shouldn't have sent him letters. Like, I know you might think that they can't be traced back to you, but I feel like probably they can. Because I'm assuming the space internet is probably similar to the, regular internet we have now in many ways, and I'm sure an expert could have traced them back to find you, the most wanted murderer in the galaxy right now. She talks to her father, it doesn't go well. He's like, you're not my daughter, the Bloody Baroness stole my daughter, you're a murder hobo now. I can't really blame him, because, like, he set her free, and what she did with that freedom was turn into a murder pirate, so I'd be mad too. Now, thinking about it, I'm like, okay, what is the point of the father character? What is the point of this conversation? I think this book is trying to be a lot more of a character piece than a, like, adventure sci-fi. It doesn't know what it is. And if it's going to be a character piece, it needs a lot more with the characters than just flashback after flashback after flashback. But I was like, okay, so what's the thing with the dad? And I was like, maybe if I give this book more credit, it's because everything is about Andi. Now, I hate that, but, like, the general, everything for the general is about Andi, probably because of revenge. So he gets her dad to be his captain of the guard, essentially, because he knows that that will hurt Andi. Like, everything he does is about Andi. I still don't know if that's really helpful to the story, but, like, that's the only reason I can think really to put the dad there. Like, maybe we're trying to do something bigger with it, but otherwise it just seems like, yeah, the dad's just there so we can have some meaningful scene with Andi, and then maybe if you like Andi, you'll be devastated, but I don't like her, so I don't care. I'm gonna stop here because my chicken is almost certainly finished, and we'll catch back up with Queen Noor in chapter 72 whenever we come back. Hey everybody, we're back. I'm reading this. Adam's playing video games.
Woot woot.
He's playing the new Fire Emblem game, which we've been fighting over because we both love Fire Emblem. So, I'm letting him play so that I can read this, and that is not a fair trade at all. But later, we're going to go horseback riding, so that'll be nice. We're on chapter 72. Holy fuck, there are a lot of chapters in this book, as I've said before. We are back with Noor. There were a couple of things, because I've been editing the I've been editing the early chapters, obviously, as you guys know, because you've been watching them. And, like, there were a couple of things that have stood out to me now that I'm so far in. First of all those chapters with Claren, still don't know why those were there. Hopefully we'll find out at the very end that Claren mattered. In Noor's mom, Claren, like, what were those chapters, those very confusing early chapters? And then also the prologue, you know how I said, like, if you're going to have a prologue, it should matter, and it could have just been chapter 1. It did not need to be a prologue at all. So, on we go. Important lessons in writing with Julian. Oh, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and it had to do with Andi and her viciousness and her like switching to ruthlessness on a dime and all of that, and like her history, which we are bombarded with. I think it would have been more effective if I was going to write Andi, that when she got banished, because before she got banished, it seemed like she didn't have a murder bone in her body. There was no desire to kill everyone and everything. There was no switch to flip. So her being banished from her home was probably the catalyst for what I'm pretty sure is a very serious undiagnosed mental illness. It would have been really cool to explore that. Alternately, to explore Andi getting out into space, and maybe she just tries to go straight. She tries to do good out in space, but because she killed the general's daughter, everyone is like, she's a murderer, she's a murderer, she's a murderer, until she finally decides, fuck it, I'll become one. Either of those could have been really interesting ways to get to Andi as a person, and instead we just kind of get, sometimes a switch flips and she murders everyone. And Dex thinks she's sexy while she does it. And they try to make it seem like maybe Dex was the bad influence on her that made her go this way, but demonstrably he is incompetent and could have in no way forced anyone to become a bloody baroness. Onward, chapter 72, Noor. The first bit so far is just a whole lot of nothing. Just Noor sitting there, feeling like she should be excited because her evil plans are coming to fruition, but instead she's sad because her planet sucks. And of course all of it is said in the longest way possible. These authors will never use one word when they can use 20. You know what would make Noor a better queen? Forget taking over the galaxy. Just get what remains of her people off of her fucking terrible dead planet. Isn't she a little bit doing this for her people? Like, you can't be a queen if you get nobody to rule. You could live in space and be like a floating space colony and something.
Only the warriors deserve to live in space.
Well, now they're all warriors since she gave them her cool drug.
Oh, there we go.
Alright. I mean, now she's just going to probably take everybody else's planet. So I guess it's kind of there, but she waited a real long time for these people, and they're just like, she could have soldiers that are in better shape if she took them off this planet. Noor's relationship with her, I forget if he was her bodyguard or whatever, but this guy that she's got a relationship with, again, would have been something real great to see forming in the book 1 that never existed. Keep being told, he's the only one who would ever, be there for her. He's the only one who could ever soothe her worries. Whatever, but it'd be nice to have seen that, start. Pretty sure he's gonna die, and that's gonna enrage her even more, because, his only character trait is that he's, there to be soothing to her. Or we're gonna find out that she's been mind-controlling him this whole time, which could also be fun and horrifying, and he doesn't love her at all. This is Julian from the future chiming in again. This guy never comes up. He never comes up. He's completely unimportant after a certain point. And the only thing I can think is that maybe he will have a larger part in the next book, and we're setting him up for something to happen in the next book. And gee, I hope so. Otherwise, what the fuck is his character? I really hope that he's gonna have something happen to him in the next book, because in this one, there's no reason for him to be there. It's been 3 pages, and she's still just sitting here feeling bad.
End of the road. Nothing to do. And no hope of things getting better.
Uh-oh. He says vengeance has been a driving force in your life. She can't have vengeance. Valen already has vengeance. Get your own thing, queen. And yet then now the chapter's over, and what a pointless chapter. She's just sad, and then he comes to comfort her, and then they have sex.
Yes, it.
That's the chapter. Chapter 73, we are back with Androma. So Androma is also looking at the stars to mirror what the Evil Queen was doing, and Androma is remembering a story that her mother used to tell her. Again, we're going with the mother theme. And she's remembering a story about a light bearer in the night sky and blah blah blah. But it says, until one day everything changed, and then all I can think is,
Then Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Ooh, we are finally getting a little bit of their mythology. Apparently, the light bearer fell in love with the night spirit, and when they had sex, they created the black hole in the middle of everything. And also they created the god stars, which are all-knowing beings with the power to give and take, the perfect mixture of darkness and light. Doesn't really explain what they are, but at least we get a little bit of their mythology. Doesn't also explain why everyone believes in the god stars, or at least knows what they are and talks about them. Oh, we're trying to be deep with Andi here. Was it possible to be as good as the Lightbringers, but also shaded in darkness of the night spirits? Yeah, could get it, because Andi's complex. Do you get it?
No, it's too difficult for me.
Too complex, I
Yes,
understand.
far too complex for me to grasp.
I really wish the Queen would hurry up and get here and start killing people, because I am just so tired of Andi just being herself. I was really hoping with this much book left that we would start to get to some sort of exciting climax. So Andi wanders into a garden, which just happens to be Kaylee's memorial garden, so that's awkward. And Valen is there, and he brought his paints, and he wants to paint her. And he says, I was going to paint the gardens, but it would be nice to have a living subject. The way the moonlight catches the metal in your cheekbones and the purple in your hair. Every now and then this book's got to remind me how absurd Andi looks.
There. Sure glad I don't look stupid in this.
By the way, if anyone's interested, this painting scene reminded me, I do have a video all about my time as a nude art model, so
Yeah.
check that out. I'll put a link in the doobly-doo if I remember. Here's a thought. When the Marauder crew brought Valen on board, they were like, there's something wrong with his blood. Which is obviously because he's been sabotaged by the evil queen. When he got back to Lyra's people's planet, they didn't really mention too much of finding anything weird with his blood. You'd think they would have. And then he got home, and there's no mention of it. Now, maybe when he got home, there's no mention of it because, like, the general's in on it or something. But, like, what happened to the weird blood thing? Why is nobody bringing that up? They're going to be having, like, another party, I guess a celebration for what's his name being back? Valen being back would be my guess. And I think it's, like, some sort of summit or something. I'm already forgetting these things because I do not care. But are we going to have yet another party interrupted by an attack? Is that, like, the only way attacks happen here? Surprise, Valen might be gay. He says he's supposed to do the opening dance at this party, and he doesn't want to. And he says he has no interest in dancing with a girl, but he wants to dance with Andi. And is he implying that he would rather dance with a boy, but Andi will do? Or is he implying that he doesn't want to dance with, like, a young girl? It's confusing, but we might have a gay character. They're being very cagey. They're not coming out and just saying, like, I'm into dudes. He's just being like, I just want to dance with a friend. Maybe they're trying to say that he's asexual? It's really unclear. So she agrees to dance with him, and we may never find out if he's gay or ace or what, but you know, maybe representation. Ooh. Either way, these authors wanted to quash the Andi-Valen romance possibility to get rid of that potential love triangle and just make it clear that whatever his sexuality, he views Andi as a friend. She's got to be with Dex. And we're on to chapter 74, which I'll probably read. Let's see how long this thing is. Probably super short. Yeah, it's like 2 pages long. Chapter 74, still with Androma. Androma. That's her name now because she's a drama mama. Ooh. So Andi comes out into a hallway where the servants are doing their thing, making everything look nice, and she spies several servants loading some mangled scrap metal into a wheelbarrow and complaining about, like, the general's not going to be happy about this. And then she realizes that it's Alfie. Someone attacked the robot guy that we love. We don't love him. He's really obnoxious. But, you know, he's been killed or something. As killed as a robot can get, I guess. Oh my goodness. She asked the maids what happened, and they're like, it's likely he got in the way of a cleaning machine. What the hell kind of cleaning machines do they have going down these halls that a robot can get mulched and dismembered?
No, the cleaners!
What? Like, that's not safe for humans. Oh, but don't panic. As Andi was walking away, she definitely found his memory chip just sitting on the floor. So she's got the robot brain, so everything will be okay. Also, I haven't been mentioning it, but the authors keep reminding you over and over again why we should like Alfie. Like, oh, he's become a member of the crew, and oh, he saved them on that other planet, and he remembered to bring that obnoxious pet thing for Gilly. And he just keeps reminding us that over and over again, because it's like, please like this character. Please be concerned that he's been dismembered. Really don't want to read another chapter, but this one's from Dex's point of view, so I think I will, just to get another chapter out of the way. Chapter 75. Oh, Dex is creeping. Dex is creeping. He's doing his ninja thing, and he's following Andy around. That's charming. So Dex is creeping and following Andy around because he wants to have a love confession, but he's, like, nervous about it, so instead he's stalking her throughout the palace. Didn't he already do a love confession, and didn't she rebuff him? Like, I thought that happened earlier, but maybe this is a proper love confession this time. So Andy's gotten very close to Dex, and she's all like, never thought I'd see you again after I left you on that moon or whatever. And he's getting all, you know, gushy for her. And it says, his body felt like melted wax. Sexy.
All soft and gooey.
Ugh. No thank you. No thank you. And also hot enough to burn you, so, you know.
Indeed.
Yeah, baby. Andy's gonna turn out to be, like, right. Like, she's the righteous one, and Dex is the one who made a mistake. Or at least he's going to claim it's that. Because she's all like, oh, you hurt me so much, Dex. And he's like, I'm sorry, baby. I deserved everything you did to me, including leaving me to die on a moon. At least she also said that she was sorry. I mean, he kind of did have to throw himself on that grenade, but she did say that, I'm sorry, too. So they make out. And then they have to stop, even though they both totally want to go further.
Well, it's hard to continue making out when you're melted wax.
Yeah, I imagine so. I can't imagine that's pleasant to make out with, but, you know, I guess Andy's into it. She did some weird stuff. Her face is metal. I don't know. And then they're both like, oh, you know, what are you going to do with your future? And he's like, I'm going to go keep being a bounty hunter. And she's like, I'm going to go keep being a pirate. But, you know, if we ever cross paths, we can bang. And then he's like, do you want to go to the party? And she's like, I was already asked by Valen. And that's the end of the chapter. So, good. Great. It ends with a really ominous line, though. Dex couldn't help but feel as if he were seeing Androma Rosella for the very last time. So, like, are they going to kill her at the end of this book? Because it's called the Androma Saga. So, like, her name is in the saga. So she's probably not actually going to die. At least not permanently. Possibly maybe something to do with the droid's memory core? I don't know. Anyway, I'm done reading this for tonight. Hey everyone, welcome back for chapter 76. We're back with Androma. And Adam is playing... Wow. Adam is burping.
I was only a minor group.
And also, he's playing Fire Emblem, which is good so far. Anyway, nobody cares about that. They want to hear about space disasters.
I mean, I care
There's
about
so
that.
little book left, and we still haven't gotten to anything approaching a climax, so... If this book was sex, it would be the least satisfying sex there ever was. Oh no, it's in italics. That means we're in the past. Androma! Please get killed by an evil queen already. Guess what Andy's dreaming about? Go ahead, guess. She's dreaming about not being able to save the people she loves. So deep, what could it mean? Also, she's feeling guilty because she killed so many people, but again, if she feels bad about it, you'd think she would retroactively try to kill fewer people, but she does not. So everybody's really against this, like, superfluous pet that Gilly has for some reason. She's got this fluffy little thing. And everyone's like, oh, it's so terrible, it's so awful, but, like, it has literally done nothing. It may have done, like, one thing earlier, but it doesn't bite, it's just there, and everyone's like, it's horrifying. Andy's fantasizing about killing the fluffy thing with her bare hands. It has done nothing to her. It's, like, Gilly came to wake her up, and she woke up, and the little creature was, like, sitting on the bed. And maybe it was being like, meh. But that's, like, the extent of its evilness, and she's planning to murder it. But then again, that's just what she does as a pastime, so really it might have nothing to do with the animal at all, and she just really wants to kill something. Better be careful, though, or she'll fly into one of her rages and murder a bunch of servants before she realizes what happened. There are multiple moments of the girls painting Andy's nails and making her up and giving her a makeover. And it just feels really out of place in your sci-fi book. Maybe that makes me a terrible person, I don't know. It just seems like there's an odd amount of emphasis on makeovers every now and then. We're told they're best friends, but I guess the only proof of it we get is occasionally they give their captain a makeover. Also, all the girls are pretty much all into makeovers and pretty dresses and everything, and again, not saying there's anything wrong with that, but all of them being the same level of into it is a little bit maybe unrealistic, because sometimes Adam's being attacked by a ferret. That's what's happening over here. You guys haven't seen Avi in a little while. Hi, Avi. Hello. Mommy's reading a terrible book still, possibly for the rest of her life. Avi, what do you think about all the girls feeling the same way about pretty dresses and makeovers? Avi says, I don't care about any of this, Mom. Put me down. I want to explore. We finally get a little bit more about Lyra's, religion. Although I'm pretty sure I heard her talking about the god stars, so maybe she worships both. Lyra probably has the most, culture of any of the characters, because we go to her home planet and we find out a bit more about her culture. None of it feels very interesting or deep, but I guess it's there, so that's better than nothing. Lyra reveals that the Marauder is here on this planet because her aunt brought it with her. I can't remember if that was something we found out in the chapter with her aunt or if we're just finding that out now. But the Marauder is here, so certainly Andi and her crew will have to make a daring a space escape or attack or something at some point. So I forget why the general was making Andi stay for the party. Because they're all like, yeah, we can't wait to get out of here. The Marauder's all ready to go. We just have to finish this party and then we can leave. And I don't remember why the general said that she had to stay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the girls like to get prettied up and go to parties. Whatever, but that's not what I want to read when I read a sci-fi, and so I'm so not into this, and Valen sent over a really gorgeous dress, and now some servants have arrived to do up their makeup, and it's just I do not care. This would be less out of place in a fantasy story, I feel like.
Unless it's some really cool sci-fi makeup that does fancy stuff.
Okay, here's a little pet peeve for you. And yet, as her mother spoke, Andi couldn't catch even a glimpse of brokenness in her tone. You can't glimpse something that you hear, because glimpsing is with your eyes. So it would be Andi couldn't hear, or Andi couldn't detect any brokenness in her mother's tone. Again, you kind of feel like they wanted this to be a movie someday, because Andi, of course, is having a flashback. Her mother is here, how can she not? Thinking about her mother being too busy for her and neglecting her a little bit. She's like, I want my mother to tuck me in or whatever, and then it says, the memory fast-forwarded to Andi sitting at the glass kitchen table. So, definitely feels more like a script note. I can't figure out what these memories are trying to tell us. At first it seemed like they were trying to tell us that her parents were neglectful. But then there's a bunch of memories of her parents coming through and showing up at her dance recital and her mother being so proud that she became a specter. And I don't know what we're supposed to be getting an understanding about her parents from this. Me and her mother are in agreement, though. Her mother thinks the cheekbones look bad, and I agree. I think we're definitely supposed to understand that Andi's mother is a total society woman and interested in image and everything, and now that Andi's back in the general's good graces, she's like, oh, I have a daughter again. Which, okay, what is that doing for this book, especially this late? Who knows? I think this book wants to have the theme of memories. But, it doesn't know how to have a theme. Oh, Andi just got pissed off. Her mom was being kind of catty. And Andi just slapped the drink from her mother's hand, so... Andi is so dramatic. She knocks the glass out of her mother's hand. It dropped to the floor where the glass shattered, broken the way Andi's heart had been the last time she had seen her parents' faces in the crowd. That's why we call her Andrama. So Andi is having this freak out, and the other girls are either being completely silent or we're meant to understand that she and her mother went somewhere else for their little mother-daughter reunion, but it was never made clear. So I don't know where the girls are. But they're either just watching silently, which seems dubious, or we were meant to understand that we left. So her mother's leaving, and Andi is yeah, my mom really is broken, like, whatever, I don't want anything to do with her. I suspect she really won't come up in the story much anymore, so we just had this, like, tied up thread that was never a thread. Like, no one reading this book was wondering, what about Andy's mom and their relationship? But the authors felt like they definitely needed to tie that up. Good, great. Can an evil queen please attack? There's so little book left. I'm really worried that this book is going to end without an evil queen attacking at all, and it will be saved for the sequel, and that is going to make me so mad. Uh-oh. Andy's switching into the Bloody Baroness, and now I'm really concerned that she's going to kill her mother. Don't worry, though. She'll feel bad afterwards. And at the end of the chapter, Andi comes to the realization that the crew is her family, which we've had pounded into our heads like a very blunt nail for this entire book. But thank goodness that we had this chapter with Andy's mom for her to realize at last that the crew is her family. Oh, we're in chapter 77. It's pretty short, so we'll go ahead and read it as well. Still with Andi. And so is the next one. Oh my gosh, I hate her so much. Let's go! So we finally get a description of this awesome, super sexy dress. And it's form-fitting, and there's a corset, and it goes all the way to the ground. It's a beautiful gown, evening gown kind of thing. But also, it has sword holsters. Not sheaths, holsters. And I'm like, okay, but then it says that they formed to her back. The bodice fabric was thick enough to cover any ridges. So you're telling me that she can wear 2 swords on her back and no one can see it? It's never been made clear that the swords, like, fold up or anything. I think they are, like, always long. So how? How are they concealed in this form-fitting gown with a corset?
They are actually stabbed into their flesh.
Ah, okay. And, like, we can't even do the Wonder Woman thing, because if you saw Wonder Woman, you know, she had a sword down the back of her dress, and it was very, like, decorative. But, like, Andi has 2, and I have no idea how she would wear them, that they would not be visible. I think these authors may have a slight visualization problem. They just write things without actually trying to picture how that would look. And if they have a reader like me who really does like to visualize what I'm reading, it's very distracting to constantly be going, what the fuck? We got more hair and makeup stuff as we meticulously describe Andy's hair and makeup for this party. Definitely know they're pretty.
Women's worth is defined by their attractiveness, so it's important you know they're valuable.
Mm-hmm. There are plenty of places in this book where we go to Dex's point of view primarily so we can describe how sexy and awesome Andi is.
Mm-hmm. Important to know.
Yeah. These authors really want to be patted on the back for having girls that are both badass and wear dresses, because they just come out and say it. Even though she was a fierce, hardened criminal, she could still appreciate the joy of a beautiful and practical ball gown. Because, again, these authors can't do anything without just telling you straight up what they mean. In my story, Boots, which is querying right now. I never have to tell you that Joanna also likes to wear pretty dresses. You just understand that from the scenes that I give you. Oh, and Valen is wearing a white suit, and Andi's gown is, like, dark black and purple. So, like, get it? Because she's dark and edgy. I wonder how much Valen is aware that he's probably a double agent. Because he just said, something tells me things are about to change for the better, and I'm ready to see it happen. Did he just say that for us, the audience? Who knows? But I'm going to stop here. There's still so many chapters. We'll get through it eventually. Hopefully an evil queen will attack very soon, probably at the party. But not before Andi gets to do a dance, and probably ends up in Dex's arms somehow. So, it'll be good times will be had by some for a few minutes, and then hopefully they will die.
End of the road. Nothing to do. And no hope of things getting better.
It's that time again. It's time to shout out this month's lovely patrons: Lennox, Amanda, Thelia, Jenny, Joseph, Kim, Lisa, Sabby Panda, Sam, Sarah, Savvy, and Scribbling Cat. I'm still so astounded and honored that I have so many awesome patrons helping me out. You guys rock.